Nintendo's most controversial console release has also garnered its most successful sales numbers when it comes to console launches. Now, according to one of the most trusted resources on the internet, known as Reddit, Nintendo's first day sales, or the amount of sales or Switch 2 sales that they had within the first 24 hours of the Switch 2 being released, amounted to roughly 4 million units moved. Now, one, no one knows the accuracy of these numbers. Obviously, these all could be fabricated. We won't really get anything reliable until we hear directly from Nintendo with regards to what their sales numbers were, whether they be first day or first week. But if there's anything that we do know that there was a large amount of scalping of this console, which means that a lot of those sales figures are probably somewhat skewed or distorted by individuals who thought that they'd be able to scalp the console. Now, seeing as how there were plenty of supply to go around, it seems that you're going to see more and more scalpers begin to return consoles. Now, don't get me wrong, the Switch has sold out in certain areas, or the Switch 2, I should say. The Switch 2 has sold out in certain markets. There are certain Walmarts, certain Targets, certain GameStops all over the country that no longer have any units. But it doesn't mean that the Switch 2 is completely sold out, that you cannot find it anywhere. I'm pretty sure if you search hard enough, maybe if you're willing to drive outside of your city, drive past, 30 miles outside of where, you're at, more than likely there's going to be somewhere within 50 to 100 miles of you that will still have a console unit for the Switch 2 that you should be able to purchase. Now, it's going to be up to you whether or not you feel that the console is worth the asking price plus the gas plus the time it would take to go that far to get one. But the point of the matter is that it is not absolutely and completely sold out. On top of that, it's reasonable to believe that Nintendo will soon have a whole nother batch ready to be restocked in most retailers and things of that nature. So there's definitely that. Now, I've also seen where a lot of the people who had some of the most negative things to say about the Switch 2 still went out and picked one up, which is pretty ironic and frankly very hypocritical. I've never been one to necessarily hate on the Switch 2. I think that the Switch 2 is a nice upgrade from the Switch, but that's all I view it as, is purely an upgrade. Who's going to be mad at an upgrade? I think we can all appreciate a good upgrade when we see or receive one. But I don't think I view the Switch 2 the way many of those who felt the need to purchase it immediately do. And I think for those people, they genuinely view the Switch 2 as a brand new console. They might view it the same way they viewed the Wii the first time they saw the Wii, or maybe the N64 the first time they saw the N64. You do have individuals who feel like the Switch 2 in and of itself is is revolutionary, that it's bringing something extremely unique and new to the table. I personally don't see that. I don't see what the Switch 2 brings that is that new or differentiating outside of maybe better frame rates, smoother graphics, a smoother look, I don't know, better response times, a larger, I guess, bezel or a larger screen, slightly larger remote controls. But for all intents and purposes, it feels very much like the same console we saw about 10 years ago or so, whenever the first Switch came out. And so I think for that reason, when in me viewing it as an upgrade, I never really feel the need to upgrade anything right away. If we use a cell phone as an example, which one commenter used in one of my other videos, they left a comment using a cell phone as a reference, but I don't feel the need to upgrade my iPhone to the next iPhone every time a new iPhone comes out. I probably skip 2 or 3 iPhone generations before I decide to upgrade my phone, and that usually is simply a result of my iPhone that I've been using breaking down. Now, am I saying that I'm going to continue to play the original Switch until the wheels fall off? No, I don't. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I do think that there will be a time and place where I do wind up picking up the Switch 2, the same way I eventually picked up the OLED Switch. But the funny thing is that I've had my OLED Switch for over a year now, and I still haven't taken it out the box. It is literally brand new. I've never opened up my OLED Switch. So there's a big part of me that believes I will eventually get the Switch 2 when I don't know. But odds are is that I probably will wait long enough for the Switch 2 OLED to come out, and then that might be the console that I get, because at that point it might seem at least better, right? Better than getting an LCD screen. And again, just a slightly larger console with slightly larger Joy Cons. That's kind of my view on the Switch 2. And again, we saw a lot of people waiting in line. There's a lot of streams for it. A lot of people are playing it. And to be honest, I have heard a lot of parents go into the game stores and ask about it. I have seen genuine interest from the general public regarding the Switch 2, which is a good sign for Nintendo. It's a good sign. It means that there is genuine interest outside of the diehard gaming community. But all that being said, I don't know if 4 million is a realistic number. Again, it's possible. It is possible. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but we'll have to see what Nintendo says probably next week. Hopefully, we'll get something realistic from them next week. But there's no doubt about it that this has definitely been one of Nintendo's most controversial console launches. More controversial than I've seen anything from them in a really, really long time. And I feel like the camps on the Switch 2 are so heavily divided that this is something that's going to be debated for a long time. One of the things that I think Nintendo can do to really silence a lot of the haters and kind of squash a lot of the debate is really just produce really great games. I think we need to see some great games so that the conversation can shift away from the console and more onto the games. Because typically, great launches are marked by great games. When consumers have something really fun to play on the Switch 2 that they can't play anywhere else, people won't care as much about frame rates and poor HDR support and the potential of your console being bricked. Give us something good to play, and I think all that other stuff will get drowned out by some really good games. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Have you heard any sales numbers? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.